Hi, friends, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to today's live level up conversation. Whether you're joining me live or checking me on replay, thank you so much for being here. Let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Speed round. Award-winning financial pro. And now, get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hi, friends. I'm Winnie, your host, an award-winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC council member and contributor as well. It is so wonderful to be joining you live today. Welcome to, our studios that where we usually film in, and then during the beginning years of the pandemic, we sort of changed studios. But definitely great to be back here again. Hello, friends. It is wonderful to be here with you live. And of course, jump in. Let me know how you're doing, how your week's going, and where you're joining me from. I'd love to hear. We're here in Southern California. Market hasn't closed yet, but I will tell you, it's certainly something to celebrate. The market is in the green. Some positive numbers across the board. The Dow's up about 262 points currently. Nasdaq's also up about 268, 69 points. And S&P 500 is also up 62 points as well. That's good news. Hopefully it continues into the market close today. But let's just say there's a lot of things that are happening currently in the financial markets. And one of the big things we always talk about is, of course, earnings season. And earnings season, currently 20% of the S&P 500 companies have already reported earnings so far, with a whopping 76% of them have been beating analyst forecasts, according to FactSet. So overall, that's certainly some good news. Now, some sectors that have been doing pretty well today include aerospace, doing quite well today. And there's, of course, a lot of anticipation around what's happening in the tech sector. And a lot of companies in the tech area are going to be reporting earnings later this week. So, of course, we'll come back and report on that as well. So following a recent downturn in the stock market, it does seem that, at least for today, some positive news showing that investors are sort of maybe jumping back in, like putting aside some of those inflation concerns and even potential interest rate hike concerns, but saying, this might be an opportunity to buy on those dips. And sometimes we need that, especially if your financial strategy is long-term, right? Buying on dips does make a lot of sense. Now let's jump into some news, because there's actually quite a bit of news today. And I'm going to start with the one and only Tesla. Tesla has a lot of stuff going on this week, but one of the big things that we want to talk about is a strategy shift. And of course, their financial forecast. If you didn't know already, Elon has been making some very big decisions. Now, this is reported recently by TechCrunch, Rebecca Bellamy, and thank you so much for sharing this. So Tesla has a strategic repositioning, if you will. As of this quarter, of course, they're really trying to be aggressively pushing its autonomous driving technology. Now, this has been marked by a significant change. And you might be saying, well, what? Like, does it really now drive itself? Well, I guess kind of. So the full self-driving system, this is the big part. The price has dropped significantly. Now, for the longest time, it was priced at $12,000 to purchase this technology. Now it's dropped to $8,000. That's big, considering all the changes that have occurred in inflation and whatnot. Now, in addition to this, Tesla has also reduced its workforce, laying off about 10% of its employee base. And they're also halting the development of the $25,000 EV electric vehicle, because now they're going to go all in on the robo-taxi. This was reported by Elon when he revealed this in August. So unfortunately, I know a lot of people were looking forward to it, that lower price Tesla, but doesn't look like that's on the radar currently. Now, Tesla has made this recent decision also in conjunction to slashing prices on their two lower price models as well, the Model Y as well as a Model 3 in many markets, including here in the United States, Germany, as well as China. Now, this is maybe reflecting a strategy considering that there's a lot of competition, of course, and also just shrinking margins and, overall Tesla's financial health as well. So that's not all. So definitely a change of direction of what type of vehicle they'll be building next, and talking about letting go a lot of their employees. And if you thought that was all, that's not all, because Tesla now is also reversing the way that they do advertising. Okay. And also, they're actually full on cutting their growth content team. So this was reported by Bloomberg and Ludrow. Tesla is now disband the newly formed marketing team that they created dedicated to growth content. This was a very short-lived group, if you will. The strategy, the idea was to engage in, now they want to engage in more traditional advertising. This was a sort of a move by CEO Elon Musk just less than a year ago. Now, big changes. The layoffs now or include the entire US growth content team, which consists of about 40 employees, as well as significant cuts in design studio and other departments, all located here in Southern California at Hawthorne. So unfortunately, hopefully they get other positions or whatnot, but it looks like they're just getting cut. Now, this is part of a broader reduction that they're saying could affect more than 20,000 Tesla employees globally. Now, this is a big thing because Elon has said to not be very happy with the marketing that Tesla has been doing. So for those of you who've been following Tesla very closely, maybe you're even Tesla fans out there, how do you feel about the job that Tesla has been doing with marketing? Because Elon feels that it's been way too generic and really indistinguishable from other car manufacturing marketing strategies, and just not really happy with the output. So I guess he wants, to level up the marketing strategy of Tesla as well. Now, these cutbacks, of course, are going to affect a bunch of global electric vehicle sales. The slowing sales definitely had an impact, and of course, increased competition across the globe. And now, of course, Tesla's longstanding, they've always sort of avoided traditional advertising, but that might just shift soon. In fact, I will say, I see CrossX Spider. It's great to see you here. Thank you so much for joining on YouTube Live. Let's talk about the influence of social media operations, though, because Elon is saying that these cuts and the shift in advertising strategy will align with some of the challenges that are faced on the social media front. And I guess he knows this very, very well, given that he bought the company formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. They've also seen a significant drop in advertising revenue amongst a lot of the controversies and, of course, content moderation, and even Elon's own public statements have taken a toll there as well. So I guess this is definitely a story that we'll watch and hear and see how this unfolds. But I'd like to see how you feel about that. What do you think about all these changes occurring at Tesla? Because these are small changes, right? I mean, you're talking about many vehicles. The Cybertruck finally came out. And of course, buying a major social media platform, you would think you would actually have a great way to market your product, considering there's so many built-in users at Twitter, which is now X, right? You're able to shell out improvements and information about your other companies, you would think so much easy. But yet, layoffs are occurring, and maybe that's the answer. Maybe they're going to use AI to handle advertising and marketing. I don't know. But curious to see how you feel about that. How do you feel about the change? Do you feel like this is taking Tesla in the right direction? Do you feel like maybe this is short-lived, or do you feel like, there's maybe a bigger issue here that they might need to get to the bottom of, right? There's just so much Tesla, Elon news every single week in business news. At some point, sometimes it's good to quiet down a little bit and get back to business. That's just my thinking. All right. Speaking of businesses that are changing significantly, we have another story coming out of about Express. Now, Express, you may know as the retailer. Maybe some of you have seen it at the mall, right? Maybe you bought clothes from there when you were younger, maybe in your teens, maybe when you're in college. Well, Express is now seeking revival through bankruptcy. Chapter 11. Yeah. So, store closures and potential sale is on the horizon for Express. This is reported from AP Business Writers. And talking about how they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, and they're hoping to sell most of their retail locations, and they're going to be closing strategic stores. And they're saying part of the reason this is going to be taking place, I mean, they're closing like 95 Express stores and all 10 of their Up West stores. So let's be honest, that's like 100 different types of stores. Now, these closures, they're saying, is part of a bigger issue. And one of their issues is because they're reporting nearly $1.2 billion in total debts against $1.3 billion in assets. Pretty significant. Now, they're saying the company has secured a commitment for about $35 million in new financing to support its operations through this bankruptcy and sale process. I guess that's good. So, of course, it's subject to court approval. But nonetheless, they said one of the biggest issues that they're facing is, of course, now because of that, more people are working from home, right? And this was accelerated due to the beginning of the pandemic. So people are spending a lot less money on office wear, right? You can get away with more casual clothing when you're not going to the office all the time. In addition, they're struggling against fast fashion brands like Zara and H&M. They certainly bring clothes more quickly and in many cases probably less expensive as well. So these have all put a lot of pressure onto Express, which was originally founded in 1980. So hopefully things get better for them, but in the meantime, hopefully it's a straightforward and clean bankruptcy deal, and hopefully not putting people hurt in the process. I do worry about the people who, of those almost 100 stores, what their employees would go. So not a good thing. Not a good thing for sure. But nonetheless, that's what's happening at Express. And then we'll continue to follow and share more updates to that if we do see things come out. Now, let's talk about something positive, though, right? This one, I guess it depends on how you think, if you think it's positive or not. I mean, it may not even impact you, but Amazon is on their continued path for world dominance because Amazon is launching an affordable grocery delivery program, they say, for Prime members and get this, EBT users. This was recorded. They actually made an announcement themselves. This comes from Amazon directly. They sent a business wire out of Seattle. So it doesn't mean yet another subscription service. That's right. So Amazon now, like on top of Prime, you get to pay a little bit more. Amazon's introducing their monthly grocery delivery subscription program for just $9.99. So $10 will provide, that's monthly, provide unlimited delivery for orders over $35 coming from Amazon Fresh, Whole Foods Market, and other local retailers. Now, they're saying, well, if you're an EBT user, which low income, right? EBT users, customers with an EBT card can access the same subscription benefits for just $4.99 per month, $5 a month, they're hoping to make grocery shopping more affordable for low income shoppers. So $10 a month if you're like everybody, and then $5 a month for more affordable for low income shoppers. How do you feel about that? I mean, $5 a month times 12, that's $60 a year. Still adds up, right? For like if you're paying for Amazon Prime already, that's like, if you're paying the full tilt, $10 a month, that's $120 a year. That's quite a bit more to the average American household. Now, the subscription is available in over 3,500 cities and towns across the United States. And they're saying they're going to continue to broaden the accessibility of convenient getting your grocery shopping, right? So subscribers are going to benefit from like 1 hour delivery windows, which is kind of cool. Like, I guess your food will come quickly, and unlimited 30-minute pickup on any size orders. I think that's a good thing. So let's say, for example, you don't want them to deliver, you can pick it up. My question is this: if you don't pay for the $10 a month or $5 a month, are you still able to have like easy free pickup? Because that would be beneficial. But They're saying the priority access is going to be to weekly recurring reservations. So if you're going to be going to get your groceries every single week, you're going to get priority. So far they piloted this program. People seem to love it. They're saying 85% of those surveys say they love it and they appreciate the free delivery and the convenience of it. But beyond that, Prime, of course, members will continue to receive their other benefits. And they're saying they're going to bring on more benefits at the markets themselves, like at Whole Foods and Amazon Fresh and whatnot. But they're saying this is the future. And I must say this. I mean, I think we would all agree that sometimes these trends, it takes a company like Amazon to start implementing for us to culturally change the way that we shop. Instead of us going into the store, like bringing our bags and going through that process, now we just got to get used to having them bring the groceries to us or picking them up on the fly and just getting used to ordering ahead. Now, I'm curious to see how you feel about that. How many of you would actually use that service consistently to justify the cost? Would you be part of the $5 a month, or would you be part of the $10 a month? And would you use it? Do you feel like that's a good use of resources? Now, that being said, typically what I found is when they say free delivery, it's not quite free delivery, right? Because you do need to typically tip the driver and the delivery person. So it's sort of like free plus, kind of. That's how I feel about it. So yes, I see that. You muted. Did I mute? I don't see that right now. I think people, hopefully you can hear me all right. But anyway, that's what people are saying. So I'm curious to see how you feel about that, because I remember not that long ago, homegrocer.com tried to do this. They tried to really implement grocery delivery, and it really was just sort of too new, and people weren't quite used to having their groceries delivered. I do think that's changed, especially a lot of these things kind of got brought on by the pandemic, right? Because at that time, a lot of people weren't going to the market as often, and having groceries delivered was something that certain households and families maybe in the past wouldn't have considered, but then started using, and it can be pretty convenient. I will say that one of the things I love to do is when I travel with my family to different areas, I'll definitely check out sites such as Instacart just to see what markets are in the area, and maybe if we're just really busy or just not familiar with the area, I will do a one-off delivery. But typically, I do curbside pickup. I'm a big fan of curbside pickup because it doesn't really cost you anything extra, and it saves you so much time. Depending on which retailer you go to, Whole Foods in particular, like I do it at Sprouts, a lot of supermarkets, Sam's Club, you can order ahead of time, pop your trunk, groceries, and you just save so much time. All right. So last story of the day that I want to share with you, and this is coming out of Google. Now, Google is facing new market realities. In fact, their team is going they're talking about how big a thing this is. So Google's search guru, Prakara Ragahan, hopefully I said his name right. I did do some research on that. Emphasized that there has been changing dynamics in the area of search, and noting that the conditions of 15, 20 years ago when the internet was just up and coming no longer apply due to evolving user behavior, a lot of competition, of course, and a lot of regulations as well from the US government. And they're saying that things have to change. In fact, he has been telling his team that, okay, you can get your boba and hang out and relax for a second, but we got to get down to business. I thought that was kind of a fun thing he did. He actually encouraged employees to get their boba tea, sit down, let's talk, because now they're saying, now when we have things and projects that need to get done, here's the reality. Things have to get done much, much faster. We're not going to give you as much time to work on these various projects, and it's all about speed. Now, he is saying that they're aiming to increase the company's agility and, of course, Google's response to market changes. And one of the areas that they talked about is they want to establish teams of employees closer to users in those very significant markets. And he named in particular India, Brazil, and they want to enhance service delivery and market responsiveness to these areas. He's also talking about AI and the competitive pressures that they continue to face, even Google, with competitors such as OpenAI, Microsoft, really everybody's on the chase for a generative AI space, just showing that even Google knows that they have to maintain their reputation as the trusted source. This was a really interesting article and really interesting take, because this has been trending on platforms such as LinkedIn, where when you think you're a small business, right, and you need to continue to stay nimble, make sure that you hold on to the market share that you have, and always try to reinvent yourself to get more business, to stay in business, because we know a lot of small to mid-sized businesses often fail very quickly. But even companies as big as Google, they talk Microsoft, OpenAI, even then they're feeling the financial pressures and also the technology pressures of AI, and keeping up to making sure that some new company doesn't take over and eat their lunch. So a lot taking in from that, and they're putting a lot of emphasis on this article. So if you haven't had a chance, you might want to take a look and just see for yourself what you think about this story. We'll sort of follow this even more so. So I see Joshua saying, Cross-X Spider is saying, I would rather buy groceries in stores. Got it. Yeah. Well, Matthew, hopefully you can hear me. Maybe you got to turn up the your speaker volume on your side. But thanks so much for that comment, because sometimes technology doesn't work, and I appreciate your feedback and letting me know. But I think we're good today. Well, thank you so much. Let's check in on the markets. So Dow is currently up 246 points. NASDAQ is up 250 points. S&P 500 is up 57 points. By the way, I'm going to jump in. I don't know if you saw this trending yesterday on social media, but there's talk about the New York Stock Exchange actually surveying to see if people would want the New York Stock Exchange to be open 24/7. So trading would actually occur 24/7 all day long, just like a lot of the other new types of currencies do 24/7. How do you feel about that? Because I shared on X, previously Twitter, that's like my biggest fear. I don't want the New York Stock Exchange to be open 24/7. I think that for our sanity, for our client's sanity, for your sanity, it's good that things open and they close, right? We don't need to be trading when we're having dinner, or worried about what the market is when you're watching your kids perform at the symphony or chorus or Thanksgiving play. Like there needs to be some close to the financial market. And I like to keep it ways. I would even like it to close a little bit earlier. I mean, I think we need to really think about not just money, but also think about people's quality of life. So I'm going to put it out there. If you get surveyed, of course, give them your feedback on that, but that's my take on it. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you'll stay up to date on all the latest content that we have to share. And of course, to watch full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun, make sure to check out NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, and Roku, and many other streaming platforms. And when you share an episode online, make sure to tag at Winnie Sun. A huge thank you to Jessica, to Paula, to Joshua, so many others, Vicky, for doing so. I definitely saw it. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and share that, and then tag at Winnie Sun, so I can probably thank you on a future show. We're going to be doing some fun stuff coming up by the end of the year. So a lot of things coming that we're trying to build into the show. And of course, if you want even more information on all things business and how you can better yourself, check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun on Apple Podcasts and the LinkedIn Podcast Network, or wherever you tune in to podcasts. And with that, I hope that you're doing well. I hope you have an amazing week. Thanks so much for your time. I'll see you again this week. Take care. Bye-bye now.